All right, Henry McClure live in the studio with
John Landon.
John. I know you from going down to city council or county commission.
County commission.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I need a little more coffee. Hey, can I offer you a water?
No, I'm good.
Would you like
Henry,
a cold water?
No, I'm good. I appreciate that, though.
So, whatever possessed you to run for county commissioner?
So I'm running for Douglas County Commission District 3 in the neighboring county next door to us. That's currently where I live. I work here in Shawnee County. I'm the noxious weed director here. Over in Douglas County, I held that position there for them for about 15 years before moving over here in 2020. To tell you the truth, Henry, I think like everybody else is there's things in local government that needs to be fixed, and they need a fresh look and a new body to do it, because the old people just aren't. They're just not getting it done anymore. They're overlooking things that need to be addressed. They're not thinking outside the box, and we've got tax problems over there like everybody has. And
so let me ask you: Is your race Republican and Democrat?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what party are you?
I'm a Republican.
Okay. Were you born a Republican?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know whether I was born a Republican. I've kind of been on the fence on some issues that, honestly, Henry, I think you can see both sides of some issues. Some are pretty easy for me to distinguish and be on one side or the other. But, it's amazing to me how in government we can't work together. I mean, you have an idea, I have an idea. You won't bend on yours or budge, and I won't bend on mine and budge. And all we'd have to do is just compromise somewhere in the middle. And I think we could get a lot more done that way.
I don't know how old you are, but I'm old enough to remember when Republicans and Democrats actually worked together.
Yes, and I think we could get a lot more done in government if you just do that. I mean, I don't have to be so set on my issues that I can't bend a little or, budge just a little bit. And so, at 55, every day in life, we make choices, and sometimes we don't get everything that we want, and we make sacrifices to get, we reach a mutual ground. And so I think that's what is going to help all of us.
Was there, and if it was change, if change is the one single issue that you ran on, you decided to throw your hat in the ring. Is this the first time you've ever run for public office?
It is the first time I've ever run for public office. Yeah,
me too.
It's a little different.
It shows with me, don't it?
Well, it kind of shows with me too. I have a little bit of advantage because working for county government,
right,
local government, you get to see all the inside dealings. And,
well,
and the things that go on.
What, like when you say you have an advantage, what do you mean?
Well, so like for anybody,
insight. Okay.
So
you've got on the job training.
You coming in, anybody new who hasn't worked in the government, it's going to take you a little while to learn the ins and outs of how government works.
Okay, but hang on a second here, because you got to understand, I fight government.
Right. So
I understand the shortcomings of government from the outside the private sector as a real estate developer.
Right. Yep. And so,
but I understand. And you know what's really kind of funny about Kevin Cook? He kind of sat me down one time and said, it's so much more than what you're talking about. And I found it really kind of fascinating. He was actually trying to help me.
Yeah. There's a lot of in and outs, and from somebody coming from the outside in, you don't know where to look for information, how to get information, what the backstory is on it. And so, you're trying to learn a county way of doing a budget, which is a little different than what the private sector does budgets.
Hey, Leon, I'm on a podcast with a friend of mine. What's up?
Oh, okay. Nothing. I just wanted to say hi.
Okay. Say hello to our followers.
Hello.
I love you.
Okay.
Sorry. Hey, when my daughter calls, I don't care what's going on.
That's important.
I know. I love her.
Yeah. So I think knowing the inside tracks of government and how to get, weed through the red tape is probably the
weed. Look at you.
I got to throw my little deal in there somewhere.
Well, I'm telling you that coming down to the county commission meetings and being a part of them and seeing how, when I registered to, throw my hat in the ring, or maybe even a little before, yeah. But I begin to see, and I really see what you're saying, because you've sat through so much. Now in Douglas County, did you have to tell me how the meetings were in Douglas County?
Oh, Henry, I would encourage you to watch a Douglas County Commission meeting versus a Shawnee County Commission meeting.
Tell me the difference.
They're night and day different. You're looking at an apple compared to a watermelon.
Which one you like better?
Shawnee County by far. It's got structure. So here, without watching it, and I encourage you to go back and watch it after I tell this story.
No, I'm going to come over.
Yeah. So in Shawnee County, the very first thing you do is you stand up and you say the Pledge of Allegiance. My first day here was on a Monday, and Kurt Niehaus took me to a county commission meeting, and they rose to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and of course I rose, but I was dumbfounded, like, what in the world is this? Douglas County doesn't do that. There's no county clerk at Douglas County reading an agenda. Their items are all done mostly through a consent agenda. Their meetings take probably 15 minutes. There's no transparency. If you don't get the agenda and do your research prior to that, the meetings they're done and over with by the time you get a chance to do anything.
How many county commissioners are there in Douglas?
There's 3, and it's actually going to 5 this year.
Okay.
And so you could, when I was over there and being part of Public Works, the noxious weed department, and later on I got promoted to the assistant operations manager of Public Works. So, I know roads and bridges and weeds and all kinds of stuff. And so you could buy $500,000 of dump trucks on a consent agenda and never present a thing to the commissioners. It's just a nod of the hat, and they approve it and done, and never answer one question whatsoever.
The only thing I want to do different at Shawnee County?
What's that?
You don't have to ask permission to get a quote. You know what I mean? If you want to get a quote or some numbers from somebody, it's America. Go get it.
Yeah,
because look, that's giving. And I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. You might be doing that anyway, but you don't have to ask permission to think.
Well, so they do that simply because it's outside of our spending boundary.
Okay.
And so if it's more than what our allotment is to spend, and more than audit finance can approve you to do, and so it's a heads up for the commission to know, hey, I want to go out and get quotes for this. Now, realistically, we've kind of done some research and stuff prior to, so we've got a little bit of an idea what it's going to come in at, or what we're looking at, just a rough ballpark idea.
Well, and all I'm saying is, and you're saying it ain't broken. I appreciate that. But all I'm saying is, like, I can deal with the heads up when you got the numbers and this is the case. And then, because it's going to go, we're going to talk about it at that point, and it's going to go onto the agenda. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I get your point. And so,
I'm walking and chewing gum.
I think they want to know kind of what your direction is, what you're moving forward to, so they can decide whether you can afford to do it or whether the county can afford to do it, and make that decision from there.
One of the goals today here in the office, we're going to work on getting you a website. Have you got a name that you want to?
Boy,
like I went Shawnee County first. Have you seen any of my stuff?
I've seen a little bit of it. Yeah. So, I was just going to do something similar, Douglas County Commission, District 3, John Landon, or something like that.
Well, we want, that's a long website to have to plug in.
Website.
So, think about it. So, and the reason I bring this up is because I'm killing it right now on the social media. Oh, as a matter of fact, this is what's really wild. I did a TikTok yesterday, and I had 450 people online at one time, and I had 13,000 views going on TikTok.
Wow.
All right, here we go. We're going live on TikTok. Oh shit. Yeah, kick it over.
Get that over there somewhere to you.
All right.
There you go.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Oh, you done.
Ticked and I talked.
And knocked it down.
All right, so John, say hello to everybody on TikTok.
Hello, everybody on TikTok. So, Henry, over there, they decided to go to a 5-member commission a couple of years ago, and their main reason is the county residents didn't feel like they were getting any. All the commissioners that were elected lived within the city limits of Lawrence,
Right.
and so they didn't feel like they were being represented.
The
county voice wasn't represented, so they decided to go to a 5-member commission, and so I think it's a great thing. Probably not financially great because it's just 2 more salaries you're paying.
What's the salary?
It's about $48,000 a year.
Okay, that's probably not enough for you to quit your weed
Oh,
job.
absolutely not.
No, okay.
So I've got 6 more years.
So do you actually live in the county?
I live in Douglas County.
Not
yes.
within the city limit.
Correct. I'm a 3rd generation Douglas County resident, and I've lived out in the county, in rural Douglas County, for over 30 years.
What brought the first generation to Douglas?
Oh, boy, family tree, I don't know exactly what brought them here. 2nd generation.
Okay, we're going to want a book report the next time you
come.
Are you?
A family tree? So my grandparents, both from Lawrence. My grandpa worked at KU. He was a union electrician at KU. My dad, he worked for, back in the 80s, there was a place called Kansas Color Press.
Yeah, then the University of Kansas brought grandfather here.
Yeah, so I don't know whether it brought him here or whether he just
ended up
here,
there. Yeah.
or how that all happened. And so my dad worked in printing, so when the color press there in Lawrence closed down, we all got shipped to Texas in the Dallas area. And so I finished my high school years in Texas, met my wife there, and moved back here once we got married. So
I like it here. I didn't hate Topeka when I left, and I just want to make change.
Yeah,
Okay,
Henry, we need change, and we need somebody. And here's my. Everybody's using "we need change" as there, and so mine's going to be working for you. I want to work for you. It seems like the politicians don't remember.
And so
who
let's
they're
see if we can
for.
get that domain.
Yeah,
work for you.
Yeah, because they don't. I don't think they remember who they're working for anymore. They're not. They're. I guess I could get started and go on.
No,
and on.
Yesterday at this candidate forum, I'm up with the muckety mucks up at the chamber in the ivory tower, and I see the mayor there, and he has got this gold, really beautiful gold pendant on, and he said it was a gift from the Chinese delegation. And I go, well, did he give you a bag of cash? And I'm going to actually do a quarter request. I want to know who owns that, but I want to know what was discussed in the meeting and who was at the meeting.
Yeah.
I'm going to, because I want to know. And see, here's the thing. I know this is your podcast.
No, you're fine.
But what I think is that Topeka is pulling Shawnee County down. And I think it's the county commissioner's responsibility to work with the city and have a conversation as your authority. Because if Topeka dissolves, and if Topeka went bankrupt, the county would have to run it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got District 1, 2, 3, all of 3, and part of 4 in my district. But I'm kind of looking forward to it. You know what I'm really amazed about? I don't care whether you like him or not, but I'm going to be on the ballot with Donald J. Trump, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
I'm telling you. All right, so let's keep this short because you're on a shot clock. He wasn't even. He's came here to do internet stuff, and I sidetracked him.
Oh, you're fine.
So I want to have a fundraiser for you at the Bird Dog, and we'll get some other Republicans and meet Dana K. Anderson. And he doesn't know he's having a fundraiser yet.
Surprise.
But he's been a he's been a part of wanting to change government his whole life.
Yeah.
You know, he's a good guy. So let's put you on the spot. So give us your elevator speech why we ought to vote for you.
Well, I kind of wrapped it all up in one earlier, but I'm just going to hit the high points here. I want to work for you. I want transparency. I want spending, reduce spending. Let's watch what we spend. You know, when things get tight at my house, we don't just keep spending. We cinch our belt. We start making sacrifices. We cut here to be able to pay this. So, and I think government should be the same way. They shouldn't just act like they have an unlimited checking account or savings account, because we don't. As taxpayers, we don't. And so, I'm not saying in my first year we're going to be able to lower the budget, but I'm going to work my hardest to submit a flat budget, not file a revenue neutral rate, use those taxes that we make off the appraisals to help cover that budget till we can get in there and evaluate and see where we can trim some of that fat at.
Zero cost budgeting.
Zero
right?
cost budgeting.
Yeah.
I want to be able to, in 1 year, in my first year, and it's going to be limited because by the time you're sworn in January and then you start the budget process in May or June, we should be able to submit a budget that does not affect anybody, and it's exactly a zero amount for everybody until we can evaluate where to trim and where to cut to get these costs under control.
So Blackburn is running for Aaron May's spot, and he's already looked at the budgets. He's the numbers guy. Brett has been a dear friend of mine since 4th grade. Brett is the guy that I think the only B he's ever got in his life was driver's education. And he's not that bad a driver. But he's really good. He was a good city council guy. And the stuff, he's kind of like me. Sometimes I can rub people the wrong way. And, sometimes when you're right, you just got to shut up. And
yeah, so I don't interact that much in Topeka politics just because I don't have a dog in the fight.
Right.
Well,
and plus you want to keep your job.
Yeah, well, and there's always that. But I, from a work standpoint with our commission, they've really been fair to our department.
I think we ought to turn that drone thing into a moneymaker.
Well, there's a lot of money to be made out there.
Well, why not?
If the commission said, we have.
Well, I would vote for it, and I know Blackburn would vote for it.
We have counties.
What's wrong with that?
We have Sedgwick County, we have Brown County, Wabaunsee County. They're all asking us to come do a little drone spraying.
Well, let me ask you a question. If we did that, would it put a business out of business?
No.
Okay.
No. I think it's we're not doing it
so
for
if we
landowners.
Can work for
we're doing it for other government agencies.
So if we can work for, but can I hire you to do my weed with the drone?
Currently, no, you cannot. So the only way that we would come spray Henry McClure's property is if we sent you notices, warning notices, notices, and you fail.
Because everybody will be thinking I got a dog in the hunt. Because everybody thinks I'm.
No, we would not. We will not come spray your property as a landowner unless you ignore the legal notices, and then we're by law we have to come in there and spray it, and then you're charged for it, cost, materials, 10% penalty, and then the fines that accrue every day. But I think it's a great idea. Everything that we do for Shawnee County, we do for other government agencies. When you look at what we take care of here, it's KDOT, the townships, some of the city of Topeka stuff, all the watersheds, the levee systems. And so, if Brown County wanted us to come up and treat their lagoons like we're treating ours, is it a bad thing?
No.
Probably not. I think you're helping a smaller government agency, in
and
Brown
if we
County
profit from it, we'll get a return back on our equipment.
And you never know. Maybe Brown County can do something to help us down the road, and so we're just helping other government agencies. So I don't know that's a bad idea.
Okay.
Would I say yes? I want to commit to that today. I don't know. I'd have to really think about the logistics of it.
You can bring it up again when Blackburn and I are on the count, because then you got two friends.
Yeah, and the nice thing is whatever the direction the commission decides, I'm pretty easy to get along with, and we can do it. I mean,
so last night in closing here, and then we'll go get on the figure out your internet stuff. So I got Cook on this side, I got Mays on that side, and I just said, "Hey, if you like the way things are going," and I patted these guys on the back. These are great guys. Just vote them back in. But if you want change, Henry McClure.
Yep, Henry McClure.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I don't know, this may Denny Crane.
Denny Crane.
Denny Crane.
Name on the door.
Yep.
You know, I love Denny Crane.
I did too. So
Boston Legal.
Yep. That's a great show.
You know, it's like sometimes you got to pull a rabbit out of the hat.
Yep.
That was
I think we're showing our age now, Henry.
That's fine.
But that's a great show.
All right. Well, hey, I want to thank John for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Henry.
And let's wish him luck in his campaign. We'll get his web information up and going. And do you have a bank account yet?
Yep, I do have a bank account.
What's the bank account say?
It just says John Landon, actually, I think is what it says on there.
Okay.
It's Call Valley Bank in Eudora, local bank, bank there for, I can't even count the number of years that I've been there.
All right, so just make checks to John Landon.
Yep.
There you go. And what's your maximum, 500?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And do you have a minimum?
Well, a minimum cash, but yeah, no, I don't really.
All right, so I think I'm sure it's the same in Douglas, but if you donate like more than 150, we got to know what you do for a living.
Yep.
But who cares? But so let's we'll get some funds coming in for John. How much do you think you want to raise?
You know, Henry, I don't know. So I just throw it out there, probably $5,000-6,000. I'm real. You know, as much as I can do out of my pocket, I'd rather do, because I know money's tight for everybody.
Well, what was crazy, when I was Kevin McCullough's treasurer for his campaign, I didn't mind asking money. And like, it's different for me because I don't think we should be buying our politicians.
I'm the same way. And so I'm hesitant on taking money to this day.
No, but don't.
This date, I haven't taken a dime from anybody, just simply because.
Yeah, but don't feel bad about it, because I want to say, so Kevin McCullough said, don't worry about it. That's just the thing. And everybody that's donated money to my campaign, I don't feel like I owe them a nickel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't, there's no like tit for tat or quid pro quo. So take the money, get elected. Now, let me ask you, are you taking over a guy's district, or are you part of the new district?
So I am running against an incumbent.
Okay.
An incumbent Democrat that's already in place, and I actually have a primary against another Republican candidate.
Okay. Who's the primary?
Pam McDermott. She ran in 2020. She ran against the person who won the election, and she was seated, and I think a year later she moved out of state to take a job. And then the Democratic Party appointed Karen Wiley as their representative to take her place. And
all right.
So Pam didn't actually lose to the incumbent that's in the seat now. So.
Do you have a treasurer yet?
I do. Yep.
Who's your treasurer?
My wife is my treasurer.
Why not?
She's
the treasurer anyway, probably at home.
She is, and does a great job with money, and don't let me have any. And so.
No, what I liked about what you said, and you know, I've talked some about my recovery. You know, I used to have a good time out there in the bars, having a good time politicking, you know, networking with the lobbyists and the other politicians. You know, you got to make, you know, back in the day when I was doing College Hill, you had to keep everybody happy. And what I did was I stopped paying.
Yeah.
And I think that's when the resentment started on the government side towards Henry. You know, he's not chipping in anymore. But what I liked what you said about tightening up the belt, but I'm going to tell you, since I've been clean and sober since May 2nd, 2015, I got money. I got money again. It's like, well, because I'm not wasting it.
Yeah.
And
well, I built my dream house in 2017, Henry, just south of Lawrence, in the Wakarusa Valley, and we put every dime we had into it. We sold some properties that we had to build this thing, and my biggest deal is I don't want the county to price me out of it. I've worked too hard my whole life to build that thing, and you know, 5 years into it, it's a struggle.
Well, I want to wish you luck. I know you're on a shot clock. We'll get on the internet stuff. Thank you. And anytime you want to come in.
Oh, I enjoyed myself. Thanks for having me.
Well,
yeah.
Isn't it easy to interview with Henry McClure?
Oh, it sure it is.
Yeah,
it
well,
sure
see,
is.
and this is the way. You know, I told you the story about the state champion.
Mm-hmm.
It was like after I got done. So I left Topeka for 18 years, right? And when I came back, I'm running into some people. I went to Washburn Rural, and I ran into some guys from Highland Park that were gymnasts back in the day. And they go, you know, you guys at Rural were better than us collectively, but Henry, you were like our friend. You talked to us. You were a good sport. You were a good sportsman. You know, you had, you know, honor for the sport and treated everybody equal.
Yep.
And I had that moment last night when I was talking to these people that, you know, if we just talk more.
Henry, I think if you talk more and you treat everybody exactly the way you want to be treated, the world will it's going to be a better place.
You can't not point out the shortcomings with government. You can't be completely Mr. Nice Guy. You got to break some eggs to eat the omelet.
Yep.
So it's not about, and sometimes I think in government, it's the collective that's the problem. You know, a guy doesn't want to stand out on his own and say no.
Yeah.
You know, so I think
don't be afraid to make that decision and pick a ground to stand on.
Right.
And if you're the guy that says no, you're the guy that says no for a reason. You have a reason.
Well, can I give you a case in point real quick, and then we'll close. The other day, when Bill was talking about the saloon, and they were trying to get Greg Schwartz to do the plans, remember? That's all right.
Yeah.
Maybe you weren't there. So anyway, Greg Schwartz trying to get the plans to do the saloon over in Ward Meat. And Aaron said, well, you know, I'm not going to vote for this, but went ahead and voted for Greg Schwartz to do the plans. Well, why can't you just take a stand right there? I'm not going to vote for it, and I'm not going to vote for the plan. Since I'm not going to vote for it later, I'm not going to vote for doing the plans. Don't waste your time or money.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to take a stand.
Yep. Sometimes you do.
All right. Henry McClure Live, we're going to close.
Thank you, everybody. John Landon, enjoy your afternoon. Thanks for having me.